Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's talk more about plant-microbe interaction, and let's talk about the microbes which are present external to the plants. When we talk about the microbes which are present external to the plant surface, we can again categorize them into two groups. One, the microbes which are present on the aerial parts of the plant, and two, the microbes which are present below the soil level. So above ground basically means on the surface of leaves, stems, seeds, and flowers. And when you talk about the below ground zones, that is basically roots, and the soil surrounding the root, and the areas of the soil which are at certain distance away from the root as well. So that area is called rhizosphere, and it is rich in nutrients, and it harbors a much more microbial load. These rhizospheres or zones around the roots are basically a continuous gradient of nutrients. Why so? Because the nutrients are being released by the roots of the plants, and the concentration of the nutrients is much higher near the root area around the roots. And as we go away from the roots, the concentration of the nutrients drops, so there is a gradient of the nutrients, and it is much higher close to the roots, and it keeps on decreasing as we move away from the root. So same goes with the microbial load. Microbes are present in much high concentration near the roots, and their concentration, their density keeps on decreasing as we move away from the root, because the nutrients are decreasing as well. And this is obviously due to plant metabolic activity. रूट के इर्द गिर्द जितने भी न्यूट्रिएंट्स हैं वो ज़्यादातर प्लांट की रूट से ही एक्सट्रेट होते हैं due to different metabolic processes going on in the plant. So that's why the rhizosphere, which is around the root, contains much more nutrient level and therefore much more microbial load. Now, when the bacteria colonize the rhizospheric area, this can be divided into so many different phases. For example, the first phase is the attraction towards the root. जब प्लांट रूट डेवलप होती है और वहाँ से न्यूट्रिएंट्स रिलीज होते हैं सराउंडिंग सॉइल में, तो द बैक्टीरिया हैं वो अट्रैक्ट होते हैं न्यूट्रिएंट्स की तरफ. तो फर्स्ट स्टेप इज द अट्रैक्शन टुवर्ड्स द प्लांट रूट. द सेकंड वन इज द सेटलमेंट फेज, इन विच द बैक्टीरिया स्टार्ट ग्रोइंग अराउंड द रूट सरफेस एंड इन द सराउंडिंग सॉइल. तो पहले बैक्टीरिया अट्रैक्ट होगा टुवर्ड्स द रूट. once it has reached the soil around the root, it starts multiplying there, starts growing there. And the third phase is the residence phase, when a balance is established between root mass and the microbial load. Obviously microbial load एक खास हद तक रहेगा, ना बहुत ज़्यादा कि रूट ओवरबर्डन हो जाए, और obviously ना बहुत कम कि rhizosphere जो है that remains devoid of the microbial load. So first the bacteria is attracted towards the root, then it starts multiplying in the rhizospheric soil, and then a residence phase is achieved, which is basically a balance between the root mass and the bacterial number. Now microbes which are present in the rhizosphere, those are basically dependent on the plants and the nutrients that the plant is excreting in the rhizosphere, and by utilizing those nutrients, the bacteria there, they keep on growing. Consequently, plants affect the composition of the microbial community. जिस एरिया में प्लांट ग्रो कर रहा हो, वो उस एरिया की सॉइल की, स्पेशली जो उसके रूट के इर्द गिर्द हैं, उसमें जो बैक्टीरियल माइक्रोबियल कंपोजिशन है उसको वो प्लांट अफेक्ट करता है. इफ वी हैव सेम सॉइल बट वी हैव टू डिफरेंट प्लांट्स इन दैट सॉइल, द कंपोजिशन ऑफ द सॉइल ऑफ द rhizospheres ऑफ दोज टू प्लांट्स विल बी different. उन दोनों में microbial composition different होगी, because those are two different plant species and those are releasing different types of nutrients. So that's why the plants affect the composition of the rhizosphere and the surrounding soil. And some plants may also produce certain inhibitors which can kill certain types of bacteria and pathogens as well. On the other hand, microbes can also support plant in different ways. For example, mostly it is known that the rhizospheric microorganisms, they release different types of plant growth promoting regulators, for example auxins, gibberellins, and so many others, which can help the plant to grow well. So it is a two-way approach. Another interaction, plant microbe interaction, is mycorrhizae, much more studied and much more research topic. Basically, it is association of fungi with roots of vascular plants. Fungi, when associated with the roots of vascular plants, this association is called mycorrhizae. It is quite common, and both the plant and the fungi, they get benefit from each other. The mycorrhizae can be external and will be called as ectomycorrhizae, or it can be internal to the plants. In that case, it will be called as endomycorrhizae. Now, this fungal association with the plants can help the plant to grow better, because the mycelia of these fungi, these can reach the surrounding soil, and they can help the plant to get the nutrients from the surrounding soil as well. So the plants get benefit from this association. This quality, this attribute has been a focus of biotechnological research as well. So many other different types of microbes are also there, which are known to interact with different types of plants in so many different ways. One of those interesting ways is the interaction between Pseudomonas syringae and its host plants. This bacteria has a protein which can be used to make ice crystals, and if this bacteria is present on certain plants, that plant has a risk of frost damage. So another different but very interesting type of association and plant microbe interaction. However, this organism has been genetically modified to reduce this problem. Moreover, another example, very interesting example of plant microbe interaction is that this interaction can also help to reduce the sick building effect. Sick building effect is basically the effect which can be observed in closed environments like closed buildings, especially offices and other such buildings where there are different types of machines which are operated, and all those machines can be a potential source for the generation of different types of harmful volatile compounds. For example, in different types of offices, there can be different types of printers, maybe photocopiers, and so many other such machines. All those machines can potentially produce so many different volatiles, for example, phenolics, formaldehydes, and so many other compounds. Collectively, those can cause sickness of the people working in there. But if we have potted plants in there, the plants with the soil and the bacteria present in the soil, together they can act to degrade so many of those volatile compounds, and thus they can reduce the sick building effect as well. Moreover, those potted plants will also contribute oxygen through photosynthesis. So you can see here there are so many different interesting plant microbe interaction examples, and here we were talking about the microbes which are present external to the plants. We'll talk more about such interactions in our next lessons.